Welcome back to episode 41 of the Gobcast. You know what it is by now, okay? We're 41 episodes deep. I shouldn't need to say very much. But today, we have a very special guest on the show, all right? We have someone who really has one of the most interesting pasts of, I think, any guest I've had on this show. We have someone who went from jail to the Navy SEALs, back to jail, and to the French Foreign Legion. A lot more happened in between, but that's a very short and brief way to sum it up in this intro here. We have Taylor Cavanaugh on the show today.
Nick, what's up, dude?
Thank you for coming in, man. I really appreciate it.
Dude, I appreciate you having me, man.
Now, before we dive into this, I just want to say, like I mentioned a little bit before, your past is super interesting to me, and the main reason that I wanted to have you here is because when I listened to your interviews and I heard your story, I heard a lot of stuff I related to in your past with your drug use.
Yeah.
And I think you're always a drug addict, whether you're sober or not. I was a drug addict. I was addicted to coke for a long time. And hearing your story with addiction, I was like, wow, I hear a lot of similarities with myself, but you went a totally different path than anyone I knew or anyone I've spoken to.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested in learning about your experience with the military and kind of juggling both addiction and such a strict military lifestyle at the same time, because that's got to be tough.
Yeah, man. And so I'll hit kind of like the 30,000-foot overview so we can actually dive into the specifics of what you're talking about. So the partying and stuff kind of kicked off in like high school, which I think for a lot of us is kind of that formative time.
That's when it happens.
And I started developing these habits where what I thought was normal was definitely not normal. And proof being, a lot of my friends from that time in high school, I grew up in Poway, so like North County, San Diego, East County, are dead or in prison. And so that's, if there's enough proof there, that probably wasn't like the jam. And so going into college, I kind of carried that momentum of, when I was getting into just trouble, causing a lot of friction in my own life, fabricating obstacles, making shit a lot harder. And so I had a couple moments of clarity through this where, I'd be dealing ecstasy, doing drug, just kind of not so much, I wouldn't say like just a straight junkie by any stretch, but I was riding the line and my life was unmanageable. And so that was what kind of was leading up to, I managed to put together a degree. I went to University of California, Santa Cruz, shout out Banana Slugs is where I ended up graduating from. But I had caused a lot of chaos, a lot of misdemeanors, a lot of things, and I wanted to go in the military, and I had to fix all that to go in.
What was your childhood like? Did you, from a young age, know you kind of wanted to be in the military? Was it a family thing, or?
Yeah, my dad was a Marine, but 6 in and out. Wasn't like we actually was based in Orange County here at Tustin. It was an old Chinook base there. It's like condos now, I think, but
it's got to be a cool place to live.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, dude. Dude, El Toro in the 80s, bro. It's like good times, man. But I wasn't forced on me. My grandfather was a captain in the Navy. Pride in the military. But I knew from about 7 I wanted to be a commando.
Okay.
I wanted to be a Navy SEAL, man. Like
so you knew super early on.
Yeah, I knew early that, people were playing in canyons and building forts, and I was practicing, man. I knew what I wanted to do, and maybe it was I know the moment it happened, I saw glow lights floating in San Diego Bay, and my dad told me, hey, those are SEALs training in the Bay. And that just, and I was like, dude, there's dudes out there at nighttime, like doing, and so that started that process for me.
It probably seemed super cool to you as a kid watching that.
Hell yeah, man,
dude. And then do that.
And then seeing documentaries like Men with Green Faces. If you've never seen that, it's about Vietnam SEALs. Dude, they're wearing like Wrangler jeans and going out for 2 weeks with no radios. I was like,
some
damn,
real grimy, gritty shit.
Those dudes are hard, bro.
Yep. Yeah, that's such a crazy contrast from the lifestyle of selling drugs and doing drugs.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I'll say, there's a lot of very regimented people in the military. I would say SEALs is a lot of people that didn't want to be in the military, but wanted to be, operate at that top level. It's casual, very disciplined. Don't make no mistake about it. Very professional, but I think it's definitely a little bit more of a pirate mentality, or at least it kind of started like that, the culture of it. And so that's why I think it kind of drew me. I wasn't into the saluting and the marching and stuff, which I ended up doing a lot in the Foreign Legion, which was rough, but
yeah, it doesn't sound very fun.
No.
The Navy SEAL stuff, though, I mean, obviously when you join the military, you're not probably not, at least what I'd imagine, immediately a Navy SEAL. You know, you gotta go through a lot of steps before you get to that point.
You got to get kicked in the nuts hard for about a couple of years, man.
It's probably a lot of nut kicks over those few years.
Yeah, cold nuts.
So before you ended up in the SEALs, you know, you had mentioned you sold drugs and you were doing a lot of drugs and you went to jail. Do you remember your first time getting high on something?
Oh, dude, I remember my first time I hit a bong, dude. And I passed out, dude. I had
really?
The first time I ever smoked weed was out of a 5-footer, bro.
Oh.
Dude, like straight
Who put you up to that?
Hydroponic P91, dude. Like back in the day, I was like probably 15, dude. And I was at this kind of like edgy kind of family's house, you know. They were blowing glass in the back. And
you were allowed to smoke inside and all that shit.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you know exactly what it is, dude. The kids just run wild, and I hit this thing, bro. And I remember the whole room going all yellow, and I was like, "They're like, are you good, dude?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I just went, just face first onto this dude's knee, bro. But that was the first time I remember, bro. But those times in high school, smoking weed and stuff, dude, I had a great time. You know, it was like, bro, I remember laughing so hard.
Oh,
It was like those times where it had those nostalgic times. You're starving and you're like, I remember being high at football practice, like laughing and it was innocent, right? It starts pretty innocent.
It's just fun, you know. You're just doing that stuff because it's a way to have fun with your friends, and there's nothing more to it.
Yeah.
You know. So at what point did your drug use kind of escalate from just that fun, you know, partying with the homies to something serious?
So I'll tell you, it was fine during this period. It wasn't an issue. I got kicked out of high school for possession of marijuana in my car, so that actually affected my life because I lost some scholarship opportunities. So, but I wasn't really aware of the gravity of even some small thing like that. But as it progressed, I would say it started to mess my thing up because I really, when I f***ed up college the first time, and it was more just all the partying. It was just I wasn't going to school, wasn't going to class, I wasn't doing my home, I wasn't disciplined at all. And I had lost my identity of playing sports and football and stuff. So I was kind of lost, and so it was kind of an escape. And that when it went from fun to like full on distraction and like was taking the place of the positive things, that's when it started things to unravel. Locked it on, got serious enough to where I ended up graduating and doing that. And then I stayed pretty damn focused in the SEAL teams for regarding like extracurricular shit like that. But we drank too much too, and that's what actually ended up fucking me. Was just kind of losing my wits and going too hard in the paint on the fire water.
What position you play in football?
Strong safety.
Oh, nice. Okay, so you were like actually doing stuff,
dude. I was laying the hat, bro.
Oh yeah, I was a lineman, so like I was one of those kids who like they just put me in to like
What high school did you play at?
I didn't make it to high school football. My grades were too bad by then. I played when I was younger. I really wanted to be on the high school team.
Did you play Pee Wee out here?
No, I'm not from here. I'm from Chicago.
Oh, really?
So, born and raised in the suburbs out there. I grew up a little bit in the city, and I moved out to the burbs when I was pretty young. Played football in Aurora out there. I was like a right tackle for most of my time.
Nice,
you know?
I dig it.
But they just send me in because I was one of the fat kids. They're like, we need his pudgy ass right up front. You know, they throw me in. I'll push some people around.
Put some hands on somebody.
Yeah, then I bench, and they'd send the kids like you in to like actually tackle people. You know, while I'm just shoving kids around. So, you know, you're kind of going through the ropes of like playing your football, and you're starting to mess that up. Where'd the jail come from?
So it was just a culmination of a DUI, driving on a suspended, possession of prescription without a prescription, a bunch of drunk in public, just like a culmination of a bunch of shit.
Yep.
I was like in a vest picking up trash on the beach, like often,
No.
you know? Yeah, dude. I would have friends from like college be like, "What are you doing out here?" I'm like, you know, just helping the community.
They just like pass you, catch you out there, like, what are you?
Like, what are you doing out here? I'm like working. They're like, damn, dude. So, but it was when I went to try to go in the military, I was on informal probation. And so the judge was like, well, you have 3 years of informal probation, or, you know, I'm not going to commute it. So if you want to serve time, fine. And so I said, let's do that just to commute the sentence.
Yep. Did you do that because you felt like you knew you were going to fuck up on that probation?
Dude, I wasn't going to wait 3 years. It's a long time, bro. It wasn't even, dude, I was like trying to go in the military now. I was 23. I wanted to be a SEAL. And so it was like, you know, you have a window.
Yeah. And probation, like that shit sucks when you're on it. You don't like on paper, from the outside, you're like, oh, probation, you're not in jail. It's great. But when you're on it, like when you're living that lifestyle, you're going to get up.
Yeah, dude. And I was too immature. And honest to God, I wasn't even thinking of like, oh, I'm going to this up. I was like, I got to get this done because I wasn't going to hang around my mom's house, dude, for 3 years, right? I was working at Home Depot stacking boxes, dude, while I was trying to get in the military, and that's when that cloud of like, dude, I'm a loser was starting to close in on me. Fresh out of jail, riding a bike, trying to get in the military, and I was getting turned down by every branch, even when I got out. I had too many tattoos for the Marines. The Army turned me down for criminal background. The only people that would take me was the Navy, which is where I ended up wanting to be anyway. So
why does the Navy have looser standards?
They did at that time. They wanted SEAL. They were at war, and so they wanted some special operators, but it was so hard to get guys to pass SEAL training. They're like, if you can pass all the physical screeners, but I needed a lot of waivers, man. It took me about a year, 9 months really, to get all the waivers, conduct waivers, tattoo waivers, letters of recommendation, and all that, and pass all the SEAL screeners.
So the first, let's say the first day that you decided I'm going up there and I'm trying to join the military, did you just go up to one of those recruitment centers, or how'd that play out?
That's exactly what I did. I rode my bike there and got turned down a few times, was depressed for a few days, then had that moment of clarity where I wrote all my charges and dispositions down, and then went in with that paper to the Navy, and the guy's like, yeah, we can work with this. And I was like, all right, started that process.
Nice. So how's that that transition from living just a normal life and partying, working at Home Depot, to suddenly now you're in the Navy?
Yeah.
What's that
dude,
lifestyle?
It was seamless.
Really?
Because, dude, for me, it was I saw dudes tripping out about it. For me, I felt like I was right in my purpose. I knew I wanted to be a SEAL. I was like, this is just part of it. So let's rock and roll, man. How do I got to fold this underwear? You know what I mean, dude? I was like, man, how tight, tight. It sucked. But you're also in there with a bunch of SEAL candidates. So it's a bunch of dudes who were trying to do the same thing. We had 100 SEAL candidates in boot camp in a special division. So it was a lot of badass pro athletes, like a lot of pro baseball players, all-American football players. Solid.
Really?
Yeah, so it was a very strong crew who a lot of those guys are still operating at the tip of the spear now, if you know what I mean. That was tier 1 level. So it was cool, and I knew I was in the flow, man.
So how did what are some of the biggest challenges in training for that? I mean, they probably had you do crazy shit.
Bro, for me, the running.
Really?
I hate running. It's for the enemy, and I'm not good at it, dude. And so that was the hardest part for me was the conditioning runs, man. The long distance running. I could sprint, but after about 2 miles, I start to gas, dude. And so that was scary for me. I'm like, I don't know if I could do this. The cold also, but also just the volume of everything, because it's just from sun up to sundown, boot camp, then Bud's prep, and then obviously the SEAL selection, which is, kind of what you see documentaries on and shit. That was just the cold and the volume.
So what's some of the different stuff that you had to do specifically to train to be a SEAL than you might do just to be in the Navy?
So your level of fitness has got to be pretty high. But honest to God, man, there was guys who were way more fit who ended up quitting, and guys you would see, you're like, there's no way this dude's passing. But we call them steel marshmallows, and it's like dudes that don't look like anything special, but will just smoke check you on everything, like super, like farm boys from Iowa.
They're just built like that.
Yeah, they're just like nothing, like a sleeper, dude. Like that Fedor Emelianenko body, you know what I mean, dude? Like you just go, nothing stupid, just will slay fools.
That guy will drink 20 beers and run a 5K.
Bro, we would have dudes smoking cigarettes before the 4 mile time runs, like in the morning, dude. I'm like,
their lungs are probably perfect.
Yeah, dude. And they would smoke check me, dude. And I'm like, dude, just like, and so it was cool. It was powerful, and it was just long, man. That's a long selection.
So, did you have a hard time making yourself kind of slow down on the partying and stick to the strictness of the Navy lifestyle, or were you like, I don't miss this at all?
Bro, we were so busy.
You couldn't even think about it.
Dude, we were so busy. You don't have any free time. So we had a couple weekends. We go out, maybe turn one on a little bit. But also it was so important when you're so tired, dude.
Yeah.
Like you're just exhausted.
It's got to take everything out of you,
Yeah, man, dude.
Day.
So it was a lot of it. And I say that idle hands, right? Yep. Devil's playground. It's so true. When you're busy and focused in a mission, building businesses and doing stuff, you just have less time to up because you're focused.
100%.
Yeah.
So run me through a daily schedule of someone that's training to be a SEAL? Like,
training or like in SEAL like selection?
what's more hardcore?
So the SEAL selection probably.
Run me through a day of that.
All right. So you're waking up at about 4-ish.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna, if it's Monday, we're gonna do first thing. You're gonna run out to the beach and do a 4-mile time run in the sand. So that's dark out.
Oh my God.
And so that's gonna be the first thing you do. You run out, take your shirt off at the 2-mile mark on the beach, and you better hope it's good tide, right? Because you imagine the soft sand and stuff.
Oh.
So you want that like hard pack, you know? So that's the first thing you'll do. You'll run to breakfast. All the runs to food is timed also. So it's a mile each way. So you're running to breakfast after that.
You got to earn that shit.
You're timed. You're going to eat. They feed you pretty well. So it's not like you're on starving rations. You're running back. It's going to be an obstacle course, probably. That's for time. You're going to have maybe another conditioning run. You might have an ocean swim, 2 nautical mile ocean swim. So you're putting wetsuits on. And then in between all that, you're just getting your shit pushed in, dude. Just like by the instructors, carrying boats, running, filling it with sand, running back and forth, getting wet and sandy, they call it, just completely covered in sand. And that goes all the way until it gets dark and into the dark.
And you're just doing that day after day after day.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, and so you'll shift some phases. First phase is more of a 8 weeks of just getting really hammered. Then you'll shift to like more of a dive phase, but you're still getting hammered.
Yep.
And then third phase is a lot of the same. It's a lot more shooting, some demolition, some small unit tactics, but then just getting fucked up in between.
How many people would you say don't make it through each of those phases?
So the attrition rate by the time you show up is like 90-something%.
Really?
Yeah. So by the time, like, I'll give you an example. We flew out with 400 guys, and those are guys that already passed boot camp and basic underwater demolition preparatory.
So these are like cream of the crop.
Yeah. So they've already they already can run 4 miles easy and 1,000-meter swims and all that stuff. We've been training for 4 or 5 months at that point.
Yep.
But we flew out with 400, and 13 finished out of that 400.
Oh my God.
Some guys got rolled back, mind you. Some guys got rolled back and graduated. So I would say out of that 400, about 50 graduated.
That's nothing. That's a little over 10%.
Yeah, that's about 50 graduated. So it's kind of give you some numbers.
Crazy.
Some are quit. Some quit. Some are injuries. Some are performance, and some just can't run fast enough or whatever. We know when they're cold and all that stuff.
So you're doing this selection, and you finally make it through that. How'd it feel making it through that selection and realizing like you're one of those guys?
Bro, it felt so good.
It's probably crazy.
Yeah, because when I started, dude, when I walked out of jail, I told one of the correctional officers, he's like, "What are you gonna do?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go be a Navy SEAL." I got out the day after Christmas in 2008, and he laughed at me, and I remember. I was good on him. I was being delusional, man.
Yep.
Like I'm walking out of jail telling some guy.
It's a crazy thing.
Yeah, and but by the time I was so nervous about my background and security clearances and failing and getting hurt that it was really this culmination of like, man, dude, you can really, when you set a goal, dude, if you fucking are like serious about it and just keep pushing, really destiny and things will happen for you if you're really, really adamant about it and just don't give up. It sounds so cliche, but dude, if you don't give up, you're setting yourself up for a lot more success than if you never fucking tried or quit along the way, which is guaranteeing you don't get it.
It's cliche, but it's correct.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, anything you want to do in life, I think you just kind of got to grind for it, you know? And the guys who got what you want, they just grinded really hard for it, 99% of them.
Yeah, and it's showing back up. It's like, take this podcast, for instance, right? Or the business or whatever. It's like so many businesses and so many podcasts, they're like, oh, they don't get this fast enough or whatever. And it's like, dude, if you just keep, I call it battle rhythm. You just keep fucking showing up, chopping the wood. Just
do it every week.
And people will just start falling off. It's like Rogan, dude. It just kept showing up, sending those podcasts.
Over 1,000 episodes.
Thank you. A lot of people don't know that, dude. 1,000 episodes, man. Think about how much volume of work that is.
It's an insane amount.
And people they see the results and they don't see just all the grind, all the
it's 1,000 quality episodes too. It's not just like shitting out junk.
Yeah.
Like real good stuff. It takes a lot.
Yeah, man. And being a business owner, dude, you're just getting smashed like all the time. And it's like, who can weather those punches and not lose, I don't like the word motivation, but like enthusiasm.
Yep.
Enthusiasm for what you're doing while you're taking heavies is, dude, it really separates the men from the boys, dude.
100%. Yeah, it's tough to do, but like it's the most rewarding shit ever, too.
Yeah.
When you grind for something and you make it.
Bro, and is there any other way? Like, if you got it easy, bro, I guarantee you it's going fast.
Yeah.
You're not gonna cherish it. Also, you won't have built it up with the correct foundation. And that's kind of what I learned going through military training is like, I earned it so hard, so it felt so worth it. But here's where I fucked up, right? Which is as you start to get comfortable, I was like a SEAL. Man, I was a SEAL for 7 years and some change, right? We went to Iraq. I was a sniper. We did a lot of stuff.
Oh, shit.
Yemen, did some stuff in Mexico. And so about 4 years in, I call it speed wobbles. You just forget what got you there. You forget the discipline. You forget the work. I go, man, when you peak, that's when you got to double down on the shit that got you there. Zoom in.
You can't get lost in it.
Don't get lost in the sauce, bro. It's going to come. You get those speed wobbles, dude. You're going to eat shit, man. And so it's knowing yourself and knowing the environment and feeling like, oh, dude, is the universe is telling me some answers. All right, I better just slow down and start subtracting some things and simplifying.
100%. So do you think that there's like a common trait that makes like a Navy SEAL candidate?
Dude, I heard a great thing one time that somebody said about, they say Navy SEALs or special operators or Green Berets or anything, it's just a group of guys that wanted to be anything but average.
Yep.
I love that saying. I actually get the chills when I think about it because it's just, dude, a lot of SEALs, dude, they don't look like anything special. You see me at Home Depot, you're like, you wouldn't know. Most guys,
normal guy,
especially some of the best SEALs, like you'd never know. Very unassuming. It's just a dude that here decided to be great, that decided that they wanted to go down a path of excellence or something that wasn't average. And I like that because you can carry that anywhere. It's like, dude, I don't care if you own a fucking hot dog stand. Bro, that shit better be gourmet as shit, $20 hot dogs. Yep. There's people doing hot dog stands doing $500,000 a year, right? And I go, bro, you choose to be great at stuff, make it great. Whatever your area of expertise is.
I heard a saying one time that I feel like it kind of seems like it's true. I don't remember where I heard it, but it was along the lines of like the scariest people in the military look like accountants.
Yeah. To make no mistake, there's some scary dudes that look scary.
Yeah.
But then there are some dudes who, man, some of the most lethal snipers in the United States military now, bro. You would never know.
Yeah.
Like guys that I know who are in that field, and bro, you'd never know. Some you would know, by they look the part, and then some you absolutely would never know.
It's crazy. You know? You can never judge a book by its cover. Everyone out there watching, that's an important lesson from that.
Yeah.
So, you're doing 7 years in the SEALs. What was your first deployment?
First deployment was to Yemen.
Oh, that's a crazy place to go.
Dude, that's a weird place.
What was that like
man.
at the time?
Growing a beard and getting weird, bro. We were out there, and it was a gray insert. So we flew in at night. We pretty much rode ATVs off the back at an old Russian airstrip that was abandoned. Yeah, man. And then we kind of posted up. We had a forward operating base. It wasn't hot. It wasn't like hot combat or something. It was we were training the counterterrorism unit, living with them, like eating boiled goat on the ground, like straight living out there, bro. And we were living in tents, man, and just doing that damn thing for a while. We were out there about 7 months and building this forward operating base as it were, because there was issues with the Houthis and some other things. And we were doing some private security details for the ambassador there, but there was only 9 of us.
That's a small squad.
No uniforms. So we were in they would give us we go buy a bunch of Arc'teryx stuff and Patagonia, and so we were.
Damn, you guys had some drip out there.
Yeah, we were dripping that candy paint, bro. Yeah, dude, that's what's beautiful about those government contracts, bro. Because they give you your government credit card, and you have a certain allotment of so you can buy what you want, man. Because you need it, right? So we're gonna be operating in low visibility operations is pretty much what it's called.
God, I'm just picturing you guys all out there in fucking Arc'teryx.
Bro, collared Arc'teryx shirts, bro. Just getting after it, man. Yeah, dude, I'll tell you what.
That's not what I pictured at all.
Yeah, dude, we had some sick shit, dude. I'll tell you what, that's what's cool about special operations units. You know, they do have an allocation of funds, which is just better than a lot of military units.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess I never thought about that, where your resources are coming. I just figured they'd just like send you in with a jacket.
Yeah, think about, dude, there's only 2,000 SEALs. Right?
Yeah.
2,000.
That's really small.
Dude, there's only been 10,000 and some change since Vietnam.
Really?
Yeah, dude. So
nothing.
Since Vietnam, bro, there's only been 10,500 SEALs or something, or 11,000 guys ever.
Do you know, like, how many have ever applied or like tried to go through the program?
Bro,
and
they
failed?
say like 1 out of 1,000 who come to the recruiting station.
Hundreds of thousands of people that have tried.
Dude. Yeah, so it's a lot. I mean, obviously it's at the beginning because it was 1962. The SEAL teams were actually instituted. They were underwater demolition teams before, but you know, in Vietnam they started to. It was actually Kennedy that enacted that. So and a little known fact. SEAL 1 and 2, all the even numbers are on the East Coast, and all the odd numbers are on the West Coast.
Oh,
just
is
to kind
that
of
what differentiates them?
And that's open source. That's not like secret shit. But
okay,
yeah, that's
cool,
what differentiates them. And it started with SEAL Team 1 and SEAL Team 2.
Yeah, don't say too much secret stuff. I don't want to get a knock, you know?
Yeah.
Only say the public
Neither
stuff.
do I. Neither do I. Trust me. Uncle Sam, not somebody you want to be messing with, bro. They get theirs.
Believe me, I know.
They're going to get their pound of flesh, man.
So, you know, you're in Yemen. How much time did you spend there?
7 months.
Oh, that's a good amount of time.
Yeah, 7 months.
How hard was it adjusting to that diet of like you're eating the boiled goat with the people there?
You know, we were living off the local. Dude, I got an iron gut. I love it, dude.
Really?
Yeah, I love it, man.
I like this.
I like eating like that, man. There's cats everywhere and shit, dude. But we had our own little base that we could cook. Like we would bring a bunch of cash, and so each guy brought cash, and we would give the interpreters money to go buy stuff in the local markets. So we'd be cooking like chickens, and maybe family would send some like canned stuff or whatever. And so it was pretty simple.
Oh, nice.
Cooking. And so they would bring eggs. We'd buy locally sourced eggs and stuff. They'd have like feathers on them and shit still. And then we just, you know, every guy would just cook for himself.
Yeah, pluck off the feathers and it's still an egg.
Dude, it was exactly, man. It was
feathers on the inside.
I felt great, man. There's a lot to be said for just there's no preservatives and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even think I had the sniffles out there, dude. The only thing you got to be careful of is there's like death walker scorpions, like these really dangerous scorpions, and we were showering outside at night and stuff. So it's like you have to be careful of some of that stuff.
You ever get stung by something like that?
No, I didn't. But dude, they would juice us up with the craziest vaccines before
I can
go.
imagine.
Dude, we were like a pincushion. Like I'd be like, "What's that?" They're like, "Oh, nothing." This is verbatim. I go, "Oh, nothing." They go, "But it might give you night terrors." I'm like, "What?" They're like, "But you won't get malaria." And I'm like, "Well, I think I'll take the malaria over the night terrors."
I don't know. Well, yeah, night terrors are kind of rough.
And I'm half joking. Malaria's pretty bad. Yeah, but dude, it was just like, but you know, stuff like that. It was just interesting, man, and you know, good in retrospect.
So 7 months in Yemen. How do they determine when you're leaving? Do you know in advance? Or do they just
so
pick you up one day?
another platoon from a different SEAL team who's on rotation will replace you, and so they'll. It's usually on 6-month blocks, rotational blocks. Usually, we stayed a little bit longer. They might extend it, they might shorten it, but a team flies in and they call it a RIP, replace in progress, where you're like opping and you read them in on the situation on the ground.
So everything keeps flowing smoothly.
And then they replace you out. They'll take some guys from the team and some guys from the team, and then everybody will leave and the team will be left there.
So it sounds like, you know, that first deployment to Yemen, you were doing mainly, you know, some supporting stuff.
Yeah, they call it foreign internal defense. So it's training the native groups to just have a higher operational capacity.
Would they be receptive to that training a lot?
Dude, that's a good question, Nick. It's cultural differences are, especially this group of guys, right? That commitment to excellence isn't fully taken on board. We're like, hey man, let's get up and train. They're like, inshallah. You know, they're like, I go, dude, you haven't hit one target. And he goes, inshallah. You know, like he'd tell me like during the combat, through the interpreters, during the combat, I will hit my target. I go, no, you won't. You know? And there's a great saying with that. I go, bro, you'll never rise to the occasion. You always fall back on your worst day of training. Your worst day at the range is how you're going to shoot in an intense environment. And there's just not that commitment, and it's just cultural differences. But some guys would, right? Some guys are there to get better, and for the most part, we had pretty good rapport with everybody, though.
Did you ever have some guys who were like really killing it with the training, and you were like, yo, we got to take this guy back with us?
No. No, but I'll tell you what, though. There have been some teams and some guys whose interpreters who are really embedded with the team become really, really important and really bonded with the team and is really good. And those guys, some of those guys have become American citizen.
There's
a guy named Johnny Walker, dude, on IG and stuff, who was actually one of my Arabic teachers because I had to learn Arabic for a handful of years. And he wrote a book. He's got a lot of stuff going on, but he did tons of ops in Iraq and through the invasion and all that, man. And now he's an American citizen. He lives in Texas.
Damn, he's probably got a crazy story.
Yo,
you got to get that guy on here next.
Bro, you should, dude. Johnny Walker. He's actually big on IG and stuff, dude. You could come across him.
Johnny Walker, I'm sending you a message later today.
Yeah, dude. He's a savage, bro. He's a beast.
I mean, this all's like, it's very fascinating to me because this is a completely unfamiliar like side of life to me.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, military stuff. The only person in either side of my family that was ever in the military was my grandfather, you know, and that was World War II. So that was a very different era.
Yeah, that's a powerful area, dude.
Yeah.
I say we stand on the shoulders of those giants, man.
Oh, yeah.
Right? There's a saying in the team to go, we stand on the shoulders of giants. Bro, those guys in World War II, bro, dude,
they were roughing it.
Bro, that was heavy with terrible gear, really cold, very dangerous. Dude, I have a ton of respect for those guys, man.
Yeah, my grandpa was a pilot. He was doing some crazy shit.
Oh, man. You should have your grandpa on here if he's still alive,
He
man.
is not, unfortunately.
Oh,
I wish. But
dude.
I can't imagine flying those planes.
Yeah, dude. Bro, flying it with no instruments, right?
Yeah.
Just joystick and eyes and maybe a
no instruments flying in a foreign country where, like, you don't know where you're flying right now.
That's powerful.
That's crazy
Yeah,
stuff.
that is crazy.
Crazy
dude.
stuff.
Yeah.
Can't imagine that. But yeah, you know, so shout out to all the World War II vets, by the way.
Yeah, straight up.
I can't imagine there's too many watching. That's not really my audience, but shout out to all of them either way.
Dude, that'd be badass. Once watching, he's like, hell yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope there's a World War II. I'd tip my hat to you if I had
straight
one.
up,
But
we all
I
do.
don't. So, you know, you're doing your 7 months in Yemen, and you finally rotate out. Do you go back to a base to train more, or how does that work when you rotate out?
Man, you're asking some good questions, bro. So yeah, you come back and in the SEAL teams, at least how it has been for a while, you're on these like 18-month rotations. So you'll deploy for 6, you'll come back to the team in San Diego, where I was based in Coronado. You'll come back to the team, you'll train. They call it professional development, which is all your individual stuff. Guys go to breacher, demolition specialty, right? Sniper. JTAC, like I was too, coordinating drone bops with planes and shit. You'll go to all these little specialty schools by yourself. Then you get grouped up in your platoon. They call that unit level training. That's another 6 months. And then you'll deploy again for 6.
So how many kind of rotations did you do of like going back and training and deploying again?
So I was about to deploy to Iraq again for my third, which is the third workup, right? My third deployment. After my third 18-month cycle, I should say. And that's when I got in trouble and got kicked out of the Navy.
So before we get to you getting kicked out, was there any like, I mean, I'm not going to ask super specific details, you know, about your time, but was there any like really crazy stuff that stuck with you during those 3 deployments that, you know, you could share?
Dude, I mean, Iraq was a different story because that was combating ISIS, right? So we were on
So you were really doing combat there as opposed to...
It wasn't super hot, so it's not kicking indoors, right? You got to imagine it's trenched in by this point. So ISIS is on one side of the Tigris. We're on another. We're pushing out, building a base. And we built... Just the overall deployment was interesting because... Well, first off, I had a totally different level of stress because I was facing 6 years in prison when I got home. I was there on bail, dude, on a felony aggravated assault charge. So it was wild because I was there for 6 months. No, I didn't even want to come back. I volunteered to stay there, bro, for 2 extra months.
Wait, so just to confirm this, you're on felony bail and deployed overseas, and when you come back, you're in deep shit.
I had to come back to trial.
Oh my God.
Dude, it was so stressful, bro.
That's crazy.
Dude, the meter's been moved for me now, dude. I was like, you can barely ping me. That was so stressful looking back. That was an interesting deployment because we built a FOB and you're near the forward line of troops, and ISIS is over there, and we were meeting with the Sunni tribal fighters who had been displaced. So I was a tribal lead of a Sunni tribe, and then we had a couple other guys, and we would go out to their spots and train them up and all this stuff, and then they would leapfrog and kind of take back over and build target packages on these cities that were taken over by ISIS. And so that was an interesting time overall. There were some bad things, saw some not. It's a sketchy situation.
Of course, yeah.
And so coming back was weird because I was in a super weird headspace coming back from that, going back into like this stressful environment. And I really, I'm really grateful to make better decisions now, to not experience that shit anymore.
I mean, I can't imagine the impact it must have had mentally to juggle. You've got this felony trial you're about to deal with when you go home.
Yeah.
You're deployed in, what seems like one of the most stressful situations you dealt with up to that point in your career.
Yeah.
And, on top of that, you're seeing all this crazy shit. You're having to immerse yourself in the culture and stay focused through all of it.
Yeah.
It seems almost impossible.
Dude, I was just so grateful to be there and working. I remember sitting on a helicopter because I had, been fighting this case, and just the judge and the team wrote a letter, and the judge allowed me to go deploy. And it was like, I remember sitting on this helicopter. We're flying from Baghdad up to just south of Mosul, where our little base we were going to start to build. And I just remember sitting there looking out the window going, thank God I'm here. Right? Because then I at least I could kick the can down the road on the trial. It's like, I was thinking maybe if I die out here, I don't have to go back and deal with that shit. Like, that was a thought I had. I was like,
that's such a crazy thing to actually seriously be thinking to yourself. Like, thank God I'm deployed in Iraq fighting ISIS right now.
Yeah, dude, I was so happy, man. I was like, thank God, at least I don't have to deal with that for another 6 months, right? That was 7 months.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So, while you're out there, you're working with these tribe leaders, it sounds like. You probably had to immerse yourself pretty deep in the culture, huh?
Dude, those dudes smoke red cigarettes like men, dude.
Like, are you chain smoking out there?
Dude. I mean, you got to smoke with them, right? And I'll smoke, and I'm smoking, and I'm like, he's like, and they just, and I'm like, oh man, 2 or 3 hours of this. So it's wild because you do build these relationships with these guys, and these guys are tough, man. Like, these guys were fighting with Saddam back in the day. Like, they fighting the Kurdish Peshmerga. So we were on the Kurdistan border. The Kurdish are great, dude, by the way. And we would drive interior. We'd be at the forward line of troops, shooting mortars, shooting 50 cals, and then drive back into Erbil in Kurdistan, which is the capital. In like 3 hours, we'd be in a mall eating an ice cream. It's so weird, bro.
That sounds like such a wild fucking time.
Yeah, and this was also another low-profile thing. So we were in unmarked vehicles. We were in like low-profile up-armored vehicles in collared shirts again and stuff like that.
That's another thing that kind of has me super interested. When you guys are obviously laying low profile, it seems like ISIS would be laying low profile. How do you kind of identify a threat in those scenarios?
Well, they are trenched in like combat, in like trenched in position.
Oh, so you got the binoculars. You're like, oh, that guy. Like,
oh yeah, and they got the binoculars on you too.
Yeah.
If you pop your head up over that berm, you're taking a round. I almost took a round like right in the dome, dude. I actually have a helmet cam where dude, I felt the round like in my hat, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're shooting Dishkas, like big rounds and stuff. So it's like an old Russian like big caliber, and so they're good, right? They're not there fucking around, dude. They're watching, and they're in it to win it, or were.
What kind of like weaponry would they use? I'm imagining in my head at least, it wasn't like super duper up to date, top of the line stuff.
No, it's not super up to date, but they're using a lot of AKs, right? They're everybody's
all
got
reliable,
AK.
yeah,
all reliable, right? Because let's be quite honest, like there's a lot of Russian influence. There's the Sunnis. There's the Shiite. The Shiite are the geopolitical scene there is complex. is very complex. You have these superpowers supporting all these interior tribal units that have their fucking complicated, man.
So it sounds like, they're pretty well armed from some maybe questionable sources.
Yeah, and they're going to have up armored vehicles. They were mining a ton. So it's against the law technically, but you know, whatever. But they're just
who's enforcing the law?
They're throwing out
ISIS.
mines and IEDs everywhere, bro.
Oh God, that's got to be stressful. Just imagining in your head like there could be a mine over there.
Well, that's why the kind of no man's land where it's like trenched in on one side, dude. In between, like we would try to see routes and stuff they could navigate, but I mean, we had people, not our own guys, but our native groups, step on them and die.
Oh God,
right.
That's a brutal fucking way to go.
Yeah, dude.
That's horrible.
Yeah, bro. We had one guy. He was the point man. He was a native guy. He stepped on it, was fine. Everyone around him died, and he was fine. And it was just wild to see this. You have how weird shit happens.
Oh my gosh. The reason that I was curious about the weaponry is because I saw a video from the whole thing in Syria that's going on right now.
Yeah.
Of the Syrian rebels were literally taking cannons out of museums.
Yeah, dude.
And like loading them and shooting them.
Bro, you're gonna see some crazy videos of those things not shooting right.
Yeah.
You're gonna see some of those those wild videos, where things just implode.
It's gonna blow back and everyone's
that's
cooked.
a lot of trust, man.
That's rough, But it's interesting to know that ISIS, it sounds like, was a lot more well armed than that. They weren't having to go grab these kind of scrap weapons.
Dude. Like ISIS was well funded, right? They have financiers and they had a lot of backed support from people trying to destabilize the United States influence, right?
Yep. So, you do that final deployment and you're kind of breathing that sigh of relief while you're there. Like, I can kick this can down the road. I can avoid this trial. But then you got to go back.
Yeah.
When did that time come and how'd that play out?
That came and we came back and I kind of kicked the can a little bit by volunteering to stay there a little longer. But finally the day of the trial came and I had they did a deal. They'll drop the felony charge. I paid a ton of money and, I pretty much my whole Iraq check, sold my car, my truck and all my stuff, but got it bumped down. But now I'm on formal probation, which is, as we just talked about probation, man, now I'm on like real formal probation.
Yeah, that's real shit.
And I wasn't supposed to travel, but I'm a SEAL, and now I'm not supposed to own a weapon, but there was so many complexities that I don't know how it was going to work. But also, I hadn't clicked into like understanding the severity of things. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I wasn't thinking. But I was supposed to abide by some very strict rules, and I did for about a month, and then kind of got off that, and I ended up getting in trouble again, 3 months into this, and then that was the nail that put I got arrested on a golf cart at a Jimmy Buffett concert of all things, dude. I got tased, and they sicked dogs on me and shit, dude. It was like a whole thing.
You got to fill me in about that,
bro.
night.
It was a whole.
How did you end up in that scenario?
It was a whole thing, dude. Drinking too much,
okay.
Right? Being a fucking knucklehead, being an idiot, and I just take a county golf cart from the Del Mar Fair for a fucking joyride around the parking lot, and somebody called the cops on me, man. And the cops rolled up on me hard. They see me. I got no shirt on. I blasted in tattoos, and I was like, oh, dude, if they run my name, I'm fucked, right?
Yep.
And so I ran, and so they tried to tackle me. I got up. Then they're sicking a dog on me. Then they're trying to tase me. I'm pulling tasers out. It was 100 people were watching this go down, dude. It was like wasting away again in Margaret. Dead serious. Jimmy Buffett's on stage while this is happening, and that
Show's
was it,
still
dude.
going.
And they gave me all the love. They blasted me in the face, dude. They got me on the fourth taser, third or fourth taser, and that was it, dude. And I told them to call SEAL Team 7, and I knew the gig was up because, dude, it was just, there was no coming back from that. I knew. A violation of probation. Navy JAG got me on because I passed the drug test. It wasn't like but I got me on a steroid charge. So that's actually technically what I got kicked out for was performance enhancing drugs.
Oh, fuck.
And I lit that fucking test up, dude. I did. They were like, hey, you failed for this, and they're like, I was like, yeah, sounds about right. I was not even going to deny any of it, dude.
Do you remember how much specifically you failed for? Like how many different
Yeah, dude,
substances?
It was like Winstrol. My testosterone was too high. They're like, you got some tren in there. So something on like, was like, yep, sounds about right, bro.
So at that moment, you're getting kicked out of the SEALs. What's going through your head? What are you thinking you're going to do?
Low. dude, I was like shame, regret monster. And, you know, anybody that's been through that, we all have, right? You're in that shame, regret hole where you're just self-loathing and just in it, scared, man. What am I going to do? My whole identity was wrapped up in it. That's what I say, man. If you're going to do something, bro, like you better be ready for the repercussions.
Yep.
Like at least know the trade-offs. And this is that mindfulness that I always promote, Nick. It's be mindful about what you're doing. Be conscious so that you don't fucking cry about it when shit goes down.
Think that shit all the way through.
If you're taking penitentiary chances, right, just know that that's coming. So that was something that I just had to come to terms with. I got a lawyer and, you know, we pushed it up. But then had to go back to jail, violation of probation and all this shit. But then I was out of the Navy, man, civilian.
Fuck. So going back to that life, that transition must have been difficult.
Bro, it was I got on it, though. I wasn't just, like, sitting around with my thumb up my ass. I'm like, this is going to happen. So I utilized a lot of contacts that I had built in the SEAL teams and moved into a residential development supervisor position on a very large project. And so that was like a lateral step financially. But I had started stacking bad habits immediately. I'm like, I'm not in the military anymore, bro. Check it.
You can have fun.
Now I'm just going to – now I was focused, and that's why I could lie to myself. I was like, I'm going to work doing this. But I was like, Adderall, Xanax, alcohol, weed, fucking every day. Like, I wasn't taking days off. I'm like, well, it works one day. It's going to work all the days. But it's still going to the gym and doing this stuff. But the speed wobbles, you can't maintain that speed for a long period of time.
You're hitting a pothole eventually.
Your relationship issues, your life issues, the family issues, it's all going to come crumbling down. Then I moved into the weed business, right? I did a lateral move, and we started, and now I'm pitching decks. Now I'm working for a larger venture capitalist. Now I'm the CEO of this company, moving and grooving out in Palm Springs and back and forth to San Diego, doing distribution, sometimes picking up cash and selling. It was just a lot, dude. And the stress of it all, now I'm stacking on an opioid habit. So I stacked that on top. If it was fentanyl, even better, right?
So I was like, your specific like drug of choice?
I was just at night, you know, I would like snort some Percocet or some opiates, you know, that's just what I liked, dude. And I was sending emails and still working and shit doing it, right? But I was sleeping 2-3 hours a night. You know, I was just not healthy and starting to lose it. And everyone else could see it, but I couldn't see it. And that's usually how it goes. And if people are there, if people are starting to kind of give you hints and things are starting to happen, fucking listen. And that was what happened when everything kind of fell out from under me. It all falls apart like it does when we're just not living right or aligned. And I found myself a few months later, after that had all kind of imploded, after about 2 years to the day almost from when I got out of the military. Dude, I'm homeless in my truck with a sawed off thinking about killing myself.
Really?
Dude, I was that low and broke. No, just completely just like bottomed out. And I realized it all hit me quietly. I remember turning the keys off of my truck and I remember going, holy shit, this is how it happens. It just sneaks up on you. And then and I had no one to blame but myself. And that was actually the powerful moment when I just blamed myself. I stopped blaming everybody else. I go, dude, this was all my fucking fault.
Yep.
And that was the moment where I went, well, if I'm not going to fucking ice myself, because I just thought, I had a mom, a sister, dude, I'm not going to do that to people, right? And that was just all right, well, if that's not going to do, then if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out with my fucking boots on, man. So I'm going to join the French Foreign Legion. And I was in France like 8 days later, bro.
Damn.
I took some fast cash loans out, dude, and flew to fucking Paris.
Did you ever pay back the loans?
Dude, it cost me like $4,000, bro.
Oh,
you know, it's like
the interest was probably shit.
Oh, dude,
You're homeless at that point.
I got out of the Foreign Legion boot camp or selection, dude, and I looked at my like thing and I went, oh man, it was like
credit score is probably zero.
Dude, it was. I wish it was zero at that time, dude. It was like that $500 cost me like 4 G's probably.
Oh,
but it was worth every penny, man.
So you know, it sounds like you really actually hit a rock bottom moment.
Oh, dude, I was like digging with a shovel, bro. Like, you know, it's like I was trying to find more bottom.
I think it's important that people hit that in drug addiction, you know? I think like it's really the most dangerous type of drug addiction is when you never have a rock bottom, you know?
Dude, because you can still lie to yourself.
Yes, as long as you can keep afloat,
yeah,
you're fucked.
Yeah, exactly. And I go, dude, most people don't have the balls to bottom out. That's what I say. They can't go hard enough. And that's their problem, is they just stay in this mediocrity of not happy. I call it comfortable agony. They're in like this comfortable agony that they just, a lot of people will just go to the grave like that. And you have to hit bottom so you got something to push off of. And you can't lie anymore. Yep. You have got to get honest. And when you're tired of your own fucking bullshit, you got to be tired of your own bullshit.
Yeah, it's interesting talking about this with you right now, because literally the last guest that we just had on was someone who had just relapsed, and they'd been an addict pretty much their entire life, but they grew up pretty privileged, so they didn't have a rock bottom point.
Yeah.
Because their parents kind of kept supporting them, and that's, at least in that's the most dangerous place to be in.
Dude, the financial rock bottom was helpful because also I couldn't just keep buying. I would have just kept going. I would have just kept going, and I think that's important. And enablers, bro, are just as dangerous because, dude, if you just keep sending money and people just keep making the wrong choices, dude, it ain't stopping.
Yep.
It will take a serious level of clarity and maturity to change when shit's not that bad.
Yep. So, you're in that rock bottom moment. You're living out of your truck. You're sitting there with a shotgun. How do you decide you're not going to go through with it and you're going to do something else in that moment? Because that's a dark place to be,
dude.
Bro.
It was I call it God, but people can call it whatever they want, man. It was like this moment of clarity where it was like, bro, listen to your inner dialogue. If you recorded it, you'd sound like a huge pussy. And it was like it was like me, I, why me? And then I heard my inner dialogue from like the outside, and I went, dude, wow, bro. Think about your mom and sister and like all that. What legacy you're going to leave of destruction by doing something so selfish when, bro, it's your fault anyway. Sack up. So that was the time I went, all right, well, let's fucking do this, man. And I was still scared, bro. I was scared about not what, was I going to make it or whatever. But I was like, let's just do this and pick the pen back up and write a cool story.
Yeah, you got a lot left to live for at that point.
Yeah.
You got more to do. So
I'm 34 at that point.
Yeah,
right?
You're young.
So I'm 34. So, and also not some spring chicken, right? Showing up to a selection of a foreign military, So I was like, this is the time though, right? This is the time to do it. I have no kids. I had nothing holding me back. And when I realized that, I go, why? All right, well then let's do it.
So when I was doing my research for this, and correct me if I'm wrong about this fact, but I'm pretty sure you're the only Navy SEAL to go to the French Foreign Legion, correct?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Because the French Foreign Legion, for those of you who are unfamiliar, that is not like a normal military unit.
No.
That is a very elite unit to be in.
Yeah.
How do you, when you're sitting there in Hawaii and you're at rock bottom, in your head you're like, I'm going to join the French Foreign Legion. How do you even go about that?
So
where do you start?
when I had got out of jail back in college, and I was getting turned down by all these military branches, I came across them in my research when I was like, okay, well, these guys will take some checkered backgrounds if I do want to serve, and the American military is not worth that. So I had that knowledge already. And so that was kind of my look red, grab red, my fucking safety hatch if I needed it. So I shelved that, man. And so when the realization started to come back, I started to kind of make a game plan when I realized that call wasn't coming, that I was waiting for, that was going to be like, hey, yeah, you're getting this job back. I realized.
Welcome back to the SEALs.
Or whatever. It was happening. It wasn't coming. The phone was quiet. And that was when I decided to punch the card.
So how do you even go, who do you call or where do you go to?
Bro, you don't call anybody. This is the trip, dude. People that don't know about this, dude, it's like showing up to the Wizard of Oz gate, dude.
Okay.
Because there's no application, there's no online form, there's nobody you call, there's no appointment you set. You show up to one of two small bases, one at Paris, on the outskirts of Paris, and one in South France, in Aubin. And you just go knock on the door, bro, with your bag and hand them your passport. And that's it. You bang on a door, and a dude with a gun and a green beret will open it up, a Legionnaire, and go. And I'm talking 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You can go there on Christmas Day, middle of the night, and they'll open the door.
So do they kind of like verify at least that you got the chops to be in there first before they open? Or can I like go knock and at least get in for a night?
You might be able to get in for a night. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, because they're gonna look. They might turn you away just off if there's something wazoo or whatever.
I'm for sure not qualified. I'll tell you that.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know.
There's a lot of disqualifying factors.
Well, I don't know because like I said, dude, people don't know your level of resolve or like how much you're willing to change and how much you're willing to do, right? And so it'll open up for pretty much anybody. So once you go in, you give them your passport. I didn't see that passport again for 2.5 years.
Wow. They made it so you couldn't leave. You're locked in.
Well, if you make it,
yep.
If you don't make it, you're getting that thing back right away.
Oh, yeah.
So you go through an IQ test. You go through some medical screenings, psychological evaluations, Interpol background checks, interrogations. All that takes about a month. They'll do physical screenings, all this shit. And it's about 1 out of 15 dudes that come to the gate will actually get a contract to go to selection.
It's a very small percentage.
So it's about 1 out of 15 will actually go have the opportunity to go through the boot camp, all that shit.
A chance to get a chance.
A chance to get a chance, right? And the interrogations are really more important than the physical side in the initial selection and pre-selection phases, dude. They grill you, bro. Dude, they want to know what the fuck are you doing here, right? What's a Navy SEAL doing here? Why aren't you in the United States military?
Yeah.
They don't want issues with the United States government. They don't want issues with Interpol issues. So they really go, no sexual crimes. They need to know who the fuck you are.
Yep.
So they really lean into you hard, and they're body language experts, and they're looking at all that shit in amongst all the actual background checks. So that was the process, man, and it's a lot of Eastern Bloc guys, a lot of Romanians, a lot of Hungarians, a lot of Ukrainians, some Russians, a lot of Brazilians, Nepalese, a bunch of countries in Africa, South Africans and shit like that. So
sounds like dudes from everywhere.
It's 150 nations represented. So it's a 200-year-old institution that was started by an old king to get motherfuckers out of the bar, foreigners out of the bar and back onto the battlefield and it's modeled after the Roman legions.
Interesting.
So that's what it's modeled after. It's modeled after the Roman legions, where they would serve their 17 and get their citizenship. Here it's 5. It's about 7. If you serve your 7, they'll offer you French citizenship if you serve, a good time and stuff.
Did you take it?
They gave me a fake name, bro.
Oh.
So you get a fake name when you go in. Mine was Trent Clayson, bro. And you have your identity, operate on a French passport with a fake name and all that.
What is your fake name, if you can share?
Trent Clayson.
Oh, you just said it. My bad. I zoned out.
Trent Clayson, bro.
That's weird. That's not. Did they try to give you like a super American name so it was fitting?
Yeah, because they know you're not French. Like anybody's gonna know.
They're
Like,
not calling you Jean Paul or something.
Yeah, they call me Jean Paul. I'm like, what up, bro? They're like.
So
Pierre,
when you're you knock on the door and you're going through this. You're the first SEAL to ever be there, so they're probably like red alert over you. They're like, "What the fuck is this guy doing?" Right?
My interrogations were really long, dude. They took 4 days.
Really?
Of like 8 hours a day with they call it the Gestapo interviews. It's a secured building, and they leaned into me, and it was, dude, what happened? And so I just was like, dude, I fucked my whole life up, and I need a second chance. And I told them what was up.
No choice but to be straight up.
I didn't done anything that terrible for the Foreign Legion, it wasn't like some terrible crime or something. It was just fucking being an idiot, right? And so they were like, all right, well, let's do this, right? We'll give you an opportunity to kind of selection, and then we went into the selection process.
So it sounds like the Foreign Legion is kind of willing to accept, a little more mischief as long as you're qualified.
Oh, dude, there's been guys coming in there's been Interpol come to the gates of the Foreign Legion for dudes for drug dealing and arms trafficking, and the Foreign Legion won't give them up.
Really?
They're like, get fucked. They're already in. They'll protect theirs, bro, for the most part.
That's crazy.
They'll eat theirs internally, but they'll protect dudes from the outside.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's been dudes with some crazy-ass crimes, bro, like kidnappings and shit like that. They don't – dudes coming in with full faces blasted and tattoos, heads, and it looks crazy, dude, because you'll see dudes with, full military bearing and uniforms, just, full face tattoos. It's wild.
Why do you think the Foreign Legion in particular accepts and protects those people?
It's it's kind of culture, right? Because it was kind of formulated for like the murders and the robbers. That's where it started. It would take people with a lot of checkered backgrounds, but because they do that, the discipline in the Foreign Legion is fucking brutal. Dude.
Really?
Oh, bro. It's like the Marine Corps times 10 in terms of like formality and like brutality. In terms of like if you walk across the grass wrong, they'll put you in jail.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and their jail is, they're these small little jails on the each base, and in the morning you wake up and you grab like a 30-pound, like a 20-pound rock, and you have to run like 10 kilometers with this 20-pound rock around the thing in the morning, and then you set it down in this pyramid. Right, it's like to stack, bro. There's like the Great Pyramids of Egypt from all the dudes in front of all the. It's just the thing they do. They stack pyramids with rocks, and then you do like work, manual labor all day if you're kind of clipped up in the Foreign Legion. But they search you coming through the gate. They'll drug test you. They'll shake your room down. You have no freedom of movement. Anywhere you're moving, you're marching, singing, formal. You knocking on the door, full presentation. Everything's in French, mind you. No English, bro. So you have to learn French.
So going there, how much French did you know when you got there?
Zero.
That must have been a rough transition.
Bro, trial by fire, dude. People talk about extreme immersion, bro. This is like extreme immersion.
How quickly did you pick up the language?
I never did. My French is I could get by and travel, but it sucks, dude. Accents, our California accent is rough on the French because the is very the nasally, like we're shocking the gnar, bro.
Hits the back of your throat when you're speaking French.
We speak that hard R, and so like anytime I'd be speaking French like pretty fluently, and people would be like, "Parlez français là-bas," like speak French over there, but because my accent sounds so strong, it sounds like I'm speaking English. They'd be yelling at me, dude. It's so funny, but yeah, it was all military. I deployed with the French Foreign Legion to South America. We went to French Guiana. A lot of people don't know France has territory in South America, combating illegal gold mining. Dude, we're just blowing up gold mines and shit. And
really
deep jungle operations for 4 months. Then we also did attachment with NATO when the Ukrainian invasion with Russia happened. So I was on the Russian border in Estonia.
Oh shit!
On the Enhanced Forward Presence Battle Group with
That's pretty
English.
recent,
bro. Dude. This was 2022.
Oh my God!
I just got back.
Yeah, you
actually guess what, bro? I got back a year ago today.
Really?
December 15th. Yeah.
Fucking welcome home.
Yeah, dude. So I got back a year ago today, but it was a trip because I'd be like out in the woods doing with the French and the French flag, French Foreign Legion, and like a British guy would be like, I go, nah, bro, you're good, dude. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing out here? That's serious, bro. He'd like crawl out of a tank, and he'd be like, what the fuck?
Pull out like a little handbook, like, what the fuck do I say to these guys?
Bro, like, they'd be tripped. They're like, dude, we got to get a beer after this, dude. What are you doing out here?
And then you tell him you used to be a SEAL, and he's like, what?
Yeah, dude. I was like, oh, bro, I took a hard left somewhere, dude. I got lost.
So, training to be in the French Foreign Legion, it sounds like there was a lot of major differences between training to be in the U.S. military, yeah?
Dude, it was, a lot of autonomy. It's an infantry unit, so it's not a special force unit. So that's the thing is that it's an infantry unit. So it's infantry tactics, it's less autonomy, and just more strict, so it's a little bit different. And I was at a mountain specialty, so a mountain warfare specialty. And so we were in the Alps training and all that, and dude, I'm not made to be trekking around like a billy goat in the Alps. I paid the man, dude.
Oh, fuck.
Building igloos. But yeah, it was really good training. We got to do a lot of cool shit. We're kind of a demolition specialty. And they run. Dude, the French Foreign Legion love to run. And so it was 5 years, 4 years of some change of paying the man, dude.
More running, the shit you hate.
Bro, that was the biggest part I was scared of because I remember going in and I was researching, all right, what Foreign Legion? Like, all right, what is this going to be all about? They're like, dude, you better love running, bro. If you're not, and I was like, oh, man. I was like, so it was walking into some serious fear, dude. I mean, we'd be running 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'd do half marathons, bro, like on a regular Tuesday, dude, in the snow, in the fucking rain, dude. It was heavy.
And they'd have you doing that like back-to-back days?
Every day, dude. Dude, every day, dude. You
How
wake
do you
up
recover?
in the
like when?
Bro,
what is your recovery
my
time?
feet were so smashed, bro. But your body acclimates after a while. I mean, you just will get better. I was never great. I was always getting yelled at in the back. They're like, "Oh, allez, allez!" I was getting yelled at by some some Russian dude speaking to me in French with a Russian accent, dude. It was just it's such a trip.
So you finally finish up your training. You do the selection process. You make it through. Now, you said it was about 1 in 15 that make it to the selection, right?
Yeah.
How many actually make it past that selection?
So I would say it's a pretty good amount. I'd say about 80% make it.
Okay.
I'd say about 80 to 70% make it, because by that time, it's more dudes quitting. They'll keep you around just because, dude, there's 7,000 Legionnaires, and they're spread all over the world. Africa, Tahiti, South America. So they need all those dudes.
That's a lot more than there are SEALs.
Yeah, more SEALs. Well, they spread out a lot. It covers all the jobs. So the Foreign Legion's interesting because it's a one-stop shop for France. They have their own tanks. They have their own cavalry, their own parachute regiment, their own infantry, their own engineers, their own cooks, their own medical staff. It's like a one package deal, which is great for France because they can put the Foreign Legion in all these different spots.
Plop them anywhere, yeah.
And no political pressure if anybody comes back in a body bag.
Yep.
They're not French citizens. So it's a very interesting tool for the French government. And they would use us for interior domestic missions too, which was wild. I was patrolling the Riviera, dude, because they have a lot of terrorism issues with integration with a lot of the Algerians and stuff down there. And a lot of places of worship. So we would patrol places of worship, the beaches, tourist destinations. Dude, like patrolling on the Riviera with HKs.
Yeah, I mean, so Paris has a lot of terrorism in it.
Dude,
like,
a lot of people don't know it. It's powerful in Europe, you know, and people love it. They're like, hey, Legionnaire, you know.
Oh,
like,
you guys are heroes.
Yeah, they love it. Yeah, it's like they're nice, but it would raise eyebrows here. There, it's like, yeah. So we did some cool missions like that too.
So your first deployment, you said you were in the jungles.
Yeah.
And you were stopping illegal gold mines.
Yeah, bro.
That's got to be crazy.
Yeah, it was wild.
How do you, start doing that? The first day, let's say you arrive in the jungle. Like, what's that day
first
like?
they take us through like a crash course jungle course.
Okay.
So they call it Premier Foray, First Forest. And you're out there for like a week and some change, and they're like, here's how you fucking fill up your water, because you're not carrying water. You're filling it up in the Amazon jungle with chlorine tablets. And here's how you rig your hammock up. Here's how you make sure you don't have fucking snakes in your shit, right? And how to put your boots and how to dry your stuff out and how to actually operate in the jungle environment. So we did that. Then it's get out there and be somebody. And they just slap us on the ass and put us on a riverboat. And we were on the Suriname, French Guyane border, Guyane Francais, for months, doing patrols, 14-day patrols in, and hitting gold mines every fucking day, dude. Like, when we'd go on a patrol, we'd hit a gold mine every day, smash their shit up with sledgehammers, blow some shit up, pull their engines out, chase them off. You can't do anything with it. Yeah. You can't arrest them. You just burn all their shit and then move on to the next one.
Yeah, just fuck it all up.
Yeah, just fuck it all up and go to the next.
So when you're coming to these mines, would they fight back, or would they kind of be like, oh, these guys are going to fuck us up, let's dip?
Well, they don't want issues with the French military, because it's not even like we're police, dude. We'll just smash.
Yeah, you'll just shoot.
Yeah.
Like, you'll fuck shit up.
It's a totally different. You got you got some machines of war coming out of some dark hole in Russia, patrolling around, dude. You got some hard dudes, bro. You got some Ukrainians and tough dudes out there that are just down to get it. So looking for any reason. So they don't want issues with the French Foreign Legion. So they'll usually run off, and we're not. Also, I'm a human.
Of course.
We're not like dicks, and so a lot of us were just like, I'm not trying to really like fuck these people's lives.
Yeah, you're not like on the way there, like, I hope I fucking shoot hella people.
Yeah, and that's just not how I get down either.
You're just there to deal with the mine.
Yeah, and I've just never really been like that anyway. And the people I aren't like that. We're like, let's do our job. I'm not going to do a bit more than that.
Yeah.
Just get them off. Okay. I might eat a bag of their potato chips and fucking fuck off, it's like, that's
fair trade.
That's like, I'm not really trying to, because they got women out there and kids, dude. They got grandmas out there. Dude, we'd come across, they had like mini cities. We came across one gold mine place that had a fucking karaoke bar built in it.
Seriously?
Dude, in the middle of the jungle.
Fully functional with like a microphone?
They had a mic and all that shit.
Shut the fuck up.
That's serious,
Did they have any good bottles you recognized in there?
They had a bar and a fucking disco ball and all that shit.
What the fuck are they doing out there at the mine, dude?
And they're doing a lot, man.
Bro, the disco ball is crazy.
Dude, there's gold everywhere out there, dude. I had no idea really the magnitude. We came across some gold mines, dude, where just you grab in the dirt and see the teeny little flakes of gold just in the ground.
Should have taken a little bit.
I mean, dude, how do you think I got these teeth, bro?
I got this shit myself.
Yeah, dude. So yeah, it's just but it's powerful. So I understand why France has their little piggies down there and they found oil down there recently. So there's billions of dollars of infrastructure going down there.
Oh, so there's only going to be more illegal mines popping
there's
up.
There's tons
doing
of
shit.
stuff, and it's like, dude, I get it. A lot of them are Brazilians coming up, but ain't no borders out there, dude. It's deep Amazon. Like, what country are you really in? You know?
No one has a map they're obeying out there.
Dude, you don't even know where you're at.
Yeah, they're in the fucking jungle.
Dude, the jungle's crazy, man. I had a whole new respect because you can't carry enough water. Dude, you're sweating your nuts off, like completely soaked 24 hours a day. You have one dry thing in like a dry bag in your bag that you'll pull off at night. You'll rinse off in the bathe off in the thing and then put your dry shit on. Bro, you ain't never experienced joy like putting the dry shit on at night.
That's gotta feel so good.
Bro, and then you lay down in your hammock and you're like, oh my God,
it's not
dry.
moist.
Yeah, it's not moist, dude. And then you put the wet shit back on in the morning. Your wet socks, wet pants, because it never dries. So you just and then you keep your little dry stuff in the bag.
Were you getting sick a lot when you first got there?
Never. Dude,
really?
I swear, dude, by living out there's something about that raw that taps into our human savageness that I never got the sniffles out there.
I think it's just being in the sun, you know? I mean, the sun's got to be that natural protector.
And you're drinking just river water, dude, you know? Like you're just getting hard, bro.
River water and pillaging liquor from the gold mine bar. You've got something building in you.
Dude, your body's just like, look, we can't get sick. we don't have the option.
Were they drinking like any recognizable bottles, or were they drinking like some homebrew shit?
Dude, they're drinking they're bringing some homebrew, bro. But they're also drinking, you know, good tequila and stuff. These guys got money, bro. Like they're out there pulling in some cheese.
Oh yeah, I bet they are.
Yeah, they're not messing around. These guys are genius too, man. Dude, they're pulling in diesel engines on ATVs and stuff, like manufacturing it there on site. The reason why there's also some issues, they use a lot of mercury, so they're using they're fucking a lot of shit up too.
Oh yeah, the
they don't have
environment's
any vested
fucked
interest.
up.
Yeah, so they're doing a lot of shit that's definitely not kosher. So, but it was a fascinating experience.
So when you pull up to these mines and you're clearing these out, is there like child labor going on? They got kids working in these mines, or?
No, I didn't see anything like that.
Okay.
I just saw like families.
Okay.
Right? I mean, they're out there with their wives, and the wives are in the kitchens cooking, and it's kind of their family ordeals for the most part. That's why we weren't really trying to like fuck these people's lives up. It's like, I get what's kind of happening here. So it's all right. Well, we got to kind of like break this shit. Like you're illegally gold mining, so we can't, and this is my fucking job, you know? And so we just would take their stuff apart. We'd say, hey, we give them some water and some stuff, and then they guys got to kind of go wherever, they'll build the stuff back in.
What happens with like the stash of gold they got there?
So I didn't see like just stashes of gold, or if I did, the French officers definitely took it before we got our piggies in there.
Yep.
Because it's French officers.
Okay.
That's another piece. So they use French officers from their like West Point, and it's like a feather in the cap of their career to be in the Foreign Legion, right? It's like kind of a coveted spot.
Okay.
It's got kind of a sexy spot, and so they rule with an iron fist, and they're definitely the big cheese, but they're French officers. So we would operate with them. And I didn't see they do have legal gold mines down there, though. That's also why the French have us down there. So we would patrol and kind of and at these legal gold mines, I saw some serious gold, man. And one guy, I asked them, I'm like, how much are you pulling out here? They were pulling out 700,000 euros a week. 4 guys.
Every week?
Every week, dude. Whatever that looks like in raw or whatever. But they had a guy get shot through the neck on the way out because, dude, they go through like a gauntlet. People know, bandits know what's happening here.
Yep.
And so how do you get it out? How do you get this stuff out? They would
run the fucking gauntlet.
Dude. They would put a guy on a fucking, I don't know how you draw the short straw for this. They'd put a guy on the back of a motorcycle, and the guy in the back would hold a gun. He'd have a backpack on, and the one guy would drive and just fucking try to make it to the main river. And
he's just got a bag full of gold with a gun, just fucking.
Dude, it'd be like,
they couldn't even give him a car.
Dude, you can't get any cars out there, bro. Dude, there's no way.
There's probably not even. Yeah,
you can barely walk. You can barely ride a dirt bike. And so he just
the intricacies.
And he would get it all the way out and go to the main river, and then they do it, have their guys they'd meet up with.
I wonder what the fatality rate is on that job, dude.
Bro, it's dangerous.
High.
I mean, they pay security companies out there a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Former foreign legionnaires and guys like that to live out there and work at some of these larger gold mines.
So that's another interesting thing, too, those private security companies that you bring up. Being someone who my only knowledge about military stuff, at least prior to talking to you, is really like movies and shit.
Yeah.
When I hear that, I think like Blackwater.
Yeah.
I think those kind of things. Are those entities operating in the same area as you guys?
Yeah. Well, companies like that,
okay,
names and stuff, 100%. 100%. A lot of those companies change names a lot.
Yeah.
Right, as you can imagine.
I mean, they're
amorphic. They're amorphic, but it's a very word of mouth. They call it the circuit. It's called the circuit, right? Private contracting or contracting is what it's called. Mercenary work. So that is, you have security stuff. You have stuff in Africa. Africa's a big market, huge market for that. And you definitely have stuff in South America too. But you have stuff going on in like Haiti, for instance. You have a lot of shit going on in Haiti. Companies will hire people, go down exploration sites for gold mining, diamonds, cobalt, all these things. They need all these security specialists to go in and build these infrastructures in for these larger companies.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's a whole kind of big industry of that for a lot of ex-military people. After your time in the SEALs, was that something that you ever considered besides the Foreign Legion? Like maybe I'd do
Yeah, it was. Those contracts it just didn't sit right at the time because I had a different job. I just didn't have the gap of time where I wanted to. Really, I didn't need to. I had a pretty good life going for the most part, so I was happy. And it was going into the Foreign Legion. My biggest goal was to go contract after. That's why I wanted to learn French. 26 countries in Africa speak French. A lot of people don't know that. France has had their little imperialistic piggies all over.
They had their colonization going crazy.
So I'm like, I have a special operations background, having a Foreign Legionnaire background stacked on top in the resume. I'll speak French, English. I'll be able to go work for different companies. So that was my goal going in. And things kind of changed a little bit where I ended up kind of doing what I do now.
So, you do that first deployment. You're protecting these gold mines. You're doing your time in the jungle. You said that was about 4 months? How do they pull you out of there? Is it the same thing where they rotate someone else in?
Same exact process.
And then you're back to France training more?
Back to France training more. And now I'm going to promotional courses. Now I'm going to more specialty courses. We're training in the Alps. So we trained, our training was called Valois Post, which is on the Italian-French border. And dude, we were just building igloos in the French Alps, like at night hiking. That was hard, man.
That would fuck me up. I don't do well with altitude.
Bro, I saw some crazy injuries out there. People died out there.
Really?
Yeah, dude. It's our regiment was very, very dangerous as far as training because the mountains are unforgiving, man. The Alps are no joke.
What's some of the gnarly stuff you saw?
Well, we had an African kid, African kid, and he was rappelling down off of a thing, and he got off the rope and kind of ran, and he started to kind of like quick kind of go downhill fast, but he just got way too much speed and then tumbled, and he rolled, bro, and he hit like a rock and had 2 compound fractures in his femurs.
Oh,
and so he had to get clipped up. I mean, compound fractures in the femurs, y'all. That was serious.
That sounds brutal.
Yeah, dude, it was brutal, bro. And luckily, we had one of our who was training with us at the time. He was like this super well trained combat medic who was specialized in the mountains, and he happened to be like right next to him, which by the grace of God. But they had to life flight him out and bring the helicopters and all that shit. And so that was pretty gnarly as far as like injury wise.
Yeah, that sounds horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, that's mountain stuff, too. I get so lightheaded with elevation. Like, I'm probably not as high up as you guys were, but, like, when I go to Denver, I get sick every time.
Yeah.
I can't do that shit.
Yeah.
I just throw up.
Yeah.
So bad. No matter how long I'm there, I'll spend a week. I will never adjust.
It's beautiful, though, man. I'll tell you, it's powerful. There is definitely a lot of power up there in the mountains. The Foreign Legion can suck the fun out of anything, though, dude. Like, dude, you be skiing or whatever, bro. They'll be like, hey, we're skiing for a week. I'm like, dude, the military in general anybody who's been in the service watching this, they know the military can suck the fun out of skydiving or whatever, bro. It doesn't matter.
So you're back and you're training in the Alps again. Is the next stop for you going to Ukraine?
The next stop is Estonia, technically.
Oh, okay.
Technically,
all right.
We're on the border of Russia.
And what brought you there?
NATO, technically. So they attached the Foreign Legion to a small French contingent with a group called the Enhanced Forward Presence Battle Group, which was UK, United Kingdom, Estonians, and the Danish, the French. So we were in this big cohesive unit doing this kind of flexing on the border, blowing shit up, rolling out with like 82 tanks and shit, doing these cross trainings. So we spent 5 months there doing that.
And this sounds like a much more intense kind of combat, deployment than the first one, yeah?
No, it wasn't bad. No, because we're not shooting at Russia. Imagine.
True.
Right? So we're not shooting at Russia. It was like them flying helicopters around, it was like just posturing.
Yeah. Just flexing at each other.
Just flexing at each other, bro. Like, it ain't trying to kick World War III off quite yet.
Yo, let's fly in a lap today, show them what we got.
Yeah, so it was just, they had enhanced forward presence battle groups in Poland, there, and Germany, I believe. So
you're in Estonia. Is there anything that was, like, different about being in Estonia that you had to adjust to?
Bro, I got to tell you, bro. First of all, I never fucking knew where Estonia was, right? For the most part, I just didn't know where it was. Beautiful country. Really beautiful country. Beautiful people. Tough people. They're not quick to laugh. You know what I mean?
Very serious.
They're a little bit more serious. But, dude, I like in their cities and stuff. It was very interesting, man. I had a whole new respect for, a whole new country, man. And so that was a cool experience.
So once you get there, is it another 4-month deployment, or did you
5?
Spend 5? Okay, so around the same amount of time.
Yeah.
So what's like your day-to-day in Estonia? Let's say you wake up on a normal day. What are you doing out there?
So for me, this is where I started to build like my personal disciplines too.
Okay.
I really started to ratchet down on like my early wake ups, like stuff, because I decided, and here's the thing, what was kind of goes into the overarching redemption story is like, when did I kind of like learn how to stop fucking my shit up? It was about 3 years into the Legion, a couple years in, and I go, bro, I'm still not happy. Like now I'm looking in Foreign Legions units in Ukraine. Now I'm looking at mercenary groups. I'm like, where does this end? Do I just keep fucking going down this rabbit hole till I take a round to the head? Like, what is the whole point here? And dude, I want to live a life, and I'm just going to be like living in fucking shitholes till I'm, till I die.
Yeah.
And so I really started to, why? Well, I guess I just need to just make myself happy. And so that's when I just thought back to when I had been happier in my life. And I'm like, well, I woke up early. I was like training more and I just got consistent. I just locked all these pieces together, reading some Stoic philosophy, started actually challenging my old ways of thinking, saying no to myself in things that I did would cause me a lot of destruction. And so I just started tightening this up. And so in Estonia, when I was there, I started getting up early, training outside. We'd go have our trainings, our cross training. I'd be doing some translation with the UK units. We'd go out into the woods and do our thing and blow some shit up and whatever. A lot of it was just a lot of cross training.
Yep.
And so that was the flow, man. It was just that daily battle rhythm of like final training exercises, this and that. But I really used that time to like lock on my personal disciplines.
It sounds like Estonia was a lot nicer than the jungle to be in.
Bro, it was. I personally like the jungle more.
Really?
Yeah, I like that operational AO, area of operation, better. I like the jungle too. It just speaks to my soul. It's the pace I like. It's like slow, methodical, fucking kind of wet and sticky. I kind of like it.
Gritty,
like. Man. Yeah, and it was also just you're off in the woods. Like people just aren't fucking with you as much.
Yep.
This was a little bit more high visibility, so you have a lot more brass.
Yeah,
a lot more people around, more eyes on.
You got to be a little more serious.
I got to be a little bit more locked on, and I can't be wearing cutoff t-shirts and shit, and like cowboy hats and shit.
So while you're in Estonia, was there a point? Because I mean, it sounds like you're there at a pretty tense time to be there.
Yeah.
Did shit ever like almost escalate to where you were thinking like, oh, I might get involved in some combat?
Well, there was some times where Russia was flying, a lot of helicopters around. They're moving tanks. They're moving heavy armor close to the border, and I'm like, all right, well, we're here, so let's see what the fuck's up. Right, so there was definitely some moments, but I wasn't like worried about it. But I was just okay. We'll see if this happens.
Sounds like it was always just kind of that overarching, like, they're acting up today.
Yeah, like that's how it is.
Yeah.
You know, that's how a lot of times it is. It's like that Cold War shit.
That constant stress just sounds so interesting to, like, deal with on a daily basis. I mean, you were probably so used to it, it wasn't even stress to you at that point.
No, I didn't feel, it wasn't like something that was moving the meter for me, really.
Do you think maybe in the back of your head that could have passively had an impact on you mentally? You know, just thinking every day in the back of your head, like, damn, I might get shot today or something.
Nope.
Really?
No.
That's crazy.
Nah,
I mean,
man.
I can't even imagine that.
No, I wasn't
I'd be
stressed.
shitting bricks.
Dude, I don't fear death at all.
Really?
I don't give a fuck. No. And so that's never been something that I've really, like, I fear, like, getting really hurt and not dying.
Why don't you fear death?
Dude, I feel like I've lived pretty, I've kept my soul intact, man. Like, I could meet my maker and stand with my shoulders back, and I've kept my soul, right? And so I haven't really done fucked up shit that I can't face somebody eye to eye for.
Yep.
And so I think that that's where, and I really feel like I've pushed the pace on this life to where I'm not gonna, you know, I have different responsibilities now though.
Yep.
Right.
100%.
So I have a fiance and a baby, so it's like, but I don't fear it. But
Yep.
now I'm just a lot more careful about it, right?
Yep. So out of curiosity, what do you think happens when you die? While we're on the topic.
Well, dude, I don't think energy can be created nor destroyed, right? That's, you know, that's what Einstein said. So our energy, our consciousness changes, I think, you know, and I think people talk about heaven and hell. Heaven and hell is a place right now. You can be living in it now, right? And so who knows what that, if your energy's in a bad way, maybe that whatever form of consciousness that is, that moves on to that next thing, maybe it can be in a negative space or a positive space, right? I think if you live in the light, it's not going to be like how we think of it, but it's I think you can definitely, your energy could go in a bad way if you're living in a bad way.
100%. It's interesting, you know. I think
it's a good question, man.
Fear around death definitely probably correlates with what you think happens when you die. You know, like, and there's no definitive knowledge on what that is, but yeah, energy fundamentally, like, there is some sort of energy inside us that I feel like surely can't just, like,
bazillion
disappear,
%.
you know? Who knows where it's headed, but, like, hopefully somewhere cool.
Bro, you're radiating vibration. You're radiating frequency. You're burning calories.
Yep.
You are a life source, man.
Yeah, I'm burning calories. I'm working out right now.
Dude, you're burning, right? We're all burning.
Yeah.
And so it's coming somewhere, and it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
And it came from somewhere. And so, you know, who knows? Maybe some amorphic movement. Maybe it dissipates maybe into different things. And I think it's fascinating, man. It's a fascinating
I think
topic.
about it a lot, too. Every now and then, especially when I get stoned, I'll sit there and I'll be like, dude, I wonder what happens. You know?
Well, I think it's an interesting concept where people say, oh, he passed on, or he passed away. He passed away. Like you're into another state. You went somewhere else. You've gone somewhere else.
Where's he at?
It's very interesting when someone closes their eyes and they don't open them again, right? Their consciousness is different.
Yep.
That's a fascinating topic, and I think that it's important for us to remember, dude, there is a finality here.
100%.
So that goes into always fear. I call people, there's a lot of people that are slaves of fear, man. They won't start that podcast. They won't start that business. They won't put down whatever's holding them back, right? But just, bro, you got one go, man.
Yep.
Dude, fucking one ride on this rodeo. Full send.
You gotta fucking send it.
You gotta send it, man. Because, dude, I can't imagine, bro, laying on the deathbed going, man, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, bro. Well, do it. If you know it's something and you regret, fucking action it, bro. Because, dude, it doesn't matter. You're gonna die.
Yep.
So fucking send it.
Have you ever had, like, a really sketchy situation or injury that kind of brought you that mindset? Or have you
Oh, bro, I almost died in Mexico, dude.
What happened?
As a SEAL, dude. I almost drowned.
Really?
Yeah, bro. We were doing the G20 summit, protection for Obama. And they were worried about the cartels when he was in transit, kind of like swooping him up or something. So I got tasked as a small unit. We were like 5 guys. We went down, and I was his maritime extraction force. So we were like 2 miles off the sea. Anytime he would be mobile, we'd be kitted up in like those ribs, fucking on night vision, like ready to rock and roll.
Oh, that's cool as fuck.
But there was a huge ass storm that came in a couple days in, and I had to jump onto this boat, and because we needed to like take cover, dude, like in the harbor. And dude, I hit the side of the boat, went in, and I had no flotation, dude. I was like probably 70, 80 pounds with kit on with no fucking flotation.
Oh my God.
So I had a night vision, M4, all my magazines, body armor, pistol, radio, backpack, everything, treading water like 2 a.m. in like 10-foot swells, just pitch black, trying to kick, dude. I'm drowning and I'm like slowly going down. And with my officer, and I was like, dude, this is fucking over, bro. I'm like, well, this happened fast,
Fuck,
man.
this is it. Yeah.
I was relegated. I had no more energy, bro. I was so fucking tired. And I was just kind of like, all right, well, and a hand came down. It was my OIC, my officer in charge, and he grabs me and I like just get his out of cliffhanger, dude, pulls me into the boat. I'm like, oh my God. He goes, want a lift? He said to me, dude, I never forget, bro. I'm like,
fuck yeah.
I'm like, yes, I do. And yeah, that was the closest I had ever been, bro.
That's crazy.
And I've had a cutaway skydiving too, where my chute got fucked up and I was wrapped around and I had to cut away on a skydive. That was my last time skydiving, actually. Technically.
Oh, I'm so scared of heights, bro. That's where
Dude, I don't skydive for fun, bro. People ask me about that. I've had a lot of friends die in training and things. It's fucking dangerous.
It's sketchy, dude.
I've probably 100-something jumps at night and wall lockers and on halos, and dude, it's scary.
Night jumping in particular seems sketchy. How do you know when to pull the chute?
Bro, all you're going off is your altimeter, dude.
It's
a trip when the door drops and you look out and it's pitch black. And when you're jumping out and you're like this, you can't see the ground.
Yeah.
So you're like you're just steamrolling at 126 miles per second squared down to at terminal velocity, and you're looking just out your altimeter and it's like, and that's when you know how to pull.
What does that feel like in your body falling from that height?
You don't have that fall feeling because
Really?
the plane's moving. So
Okay.
if you jump out of a helicopter or something, you will, because you'll get some of that fall feeling. But the relative wind speed as you're jumping out, so it's kind of it feels like you're moving onto a slide.
Really?
Yeah, and so the more kit and more stuff you have on, the balancing is harder. So it kind of feels like you're on a medicine ball.
Yep.
And so but if you're just pretty slick, you jump out, it's like you're on a slide. That's kind of what it feels like.
So you kind of maintain that momentum if you do it
you
right.
don't have that sense of falling.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think the perspective is just so the human body's not registering it.
So maybe if I did want to do it, I got to do it out of a plane, not a helicopter.
Do it out of a plane, bro.
Yeah,
if you want to do it,
helicopter
I think it's a good
scary.
experience for everyone to have at least once, because the perspective is wild, dude. It's it's cool perspective.
I mean, I don't know. I'd maybe try it just to beat the fear. You know, I used to be really scared of flying, and then I had to fly a lot, so I had to deal with that. You know,
well, you don't got to fly too long. You'd be out of that plane pretty quick.
Yeah, now I'm over the plane part of that fear. Now it's just the height and the falling that I got to deal with.
Dude. I don't think I never got over the actual. You're looking out the plane and you're like, man, you see the fucking ground get smaller and smaller. Yeah, my hands are sweating, dude.
Yeah. So, kind of going back to your time that you spent in Estonia. You do your 5 months there. You wrap that up. Was that your most recent deployment that you did?
Yeah, that was pretty much
That was
it.
the one you came back from about a year ago.
Yeah, well, I got back. That was 2022, and then it was just I was training a little bit more, and then we were getting geared up for whatever the next thing was. But then I was done.
So, what brought you to being done?
Dude, part of it was forced. So,
Really?
Yeah, man, because I started to kind of go, all right, well, I don't want to stay in the Foreign Legion anymore, right? I was going to be done. So I was like, all right, I'm going to finish my time off. But I really had gotten to the point where, dude, I was felt so good about life and my daily processes. My body was built back up, my confidence. And I was like, oh, dude, I could show people how to do this. I was suicidal. And now I feel great, dude. I could show people how to do it. And I'm happy in the Foreign Legion in a barracks room. If I can be happy here, I could teach people how to be happy anywhere. And so that's when I put my camera down and I just started telling my story and told them about, the whole people that watch my YouTube, TCAV TV, bro. You see my first one is me in a Foreign Legion barracks room with my uniform on.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually sending it full stream of consciousness from the barracks room. And that was cool, man. And I got hundreds of messages from former Marines and military guys, and they're like, dude, I was going to kill myself, and I fucking didn't because I saw your video, and I really appreciate it. I'm like, oh, all right, there's something here. And I really felt on a mission, dude, fulfilled. All right, I know all that pain was for something. Now let me share it. And I put a couple videos out, man, and they fucking blew up. And the Foreign Legion was not happy about that, bro. And so they're like, NCIS for whatever. They're like they're like, take it unlev two set merit, like take all this shit down right now. And I was like, no. And that was fucking, because I was like, dude, I have momentum now, and I'm not fucking taking this shit down. I was done though. My contract was done. They actually had put me already on kind of the Twilight tour. And so I'm like fucking finishing up, and I'm like, no, I'm not staying here. And I tried to fight it with a lawyer, French lawyer, and they were like, dude, you're not a citizen. You're in this weird legal gray area. If they want to put you on, they were going to put me on food discipline and jail, like bread and water and fucking breaking big rocks into small rocks until I took it down. And then they're going to kick me out anyway and I wasn't taking it down. And that was not going to go over well, so I fought it for a little while. And then it was pretty much, it was like, all right, well, irreconcilable differences. We broke the contract, and I fucking came back to the United States.
That's got to be, I mean, it sounds like
4.5 years. Sounds
like you were excited about the future, and doing new stuff, but also it's got to be difficult kind of pulling that bottom out from under you, Dude, I wanted to finish on good terms, right?
Yeah. And so I had finished my other fucking one on, and I was like, bro, am I going to be that guy that just, has that asterisk? But, bro, this is life, man. I go, dude, this ain't a fucking fairy tale. Shit doesn't work out sometimes. And some people will be talking shit like, oh, you wouldn't honor your fucking. I go, bro, you have a divorce, motherfucker. So I go, dude, people, they're like, oh, that's different. I go, shut the fuck up. No, it's not. like people just, they don't relate it to things. And I'm like, and you weren't there. So I knew what my mission was. I knew what God or the universe or destiny, whatever you want to fucking call it, I knew what the mission was, and it's proved to be extremely correct, right? I mean, I came here, met my fiance. We have a baby due in like 3 days.
Nice, congrats,
bro. It's like my first. I've never had, and massively successful this year. I have hundreds of clients, and it's been fucking massively successful. And so I know you only know if it's a good decision in retrospect, but more importantly, inner peace, right? Only your level of resolve, and if you're operating in that aligned path, and it's not for anybody else to understand. So, yeah, it was scary. Yeah. Is it going to work? Right? Am I going to fucking fail and have, all the fear, all the self-doubt that we all deal with, and just be confident, kind of go forward with, like we talked about before, Nick, is just keep showing up. Yeah. When everyone else is like, we'll let that fear guide them, use it as a catalyst.
Just keep doing it.
Just keep fucking showing up, man.
So it sounds like, when you made the decision to be done with the French Foreign Legion and really pursue your own thing, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is really one of the first periods in your life where you're now a civilian and you're sober.
Yeah. Well, dude, and it's, and I'm not like some monk, if it's like some military guy and wants to have a beer or something, and so it's like, but it's like my daily habits. What are the aggregate things, and it's, I think that's the biggest part, and what's taking you off your mark, and what's distraction, and what's just pure pleasure seeking, right? And at least know the trade-offs, right? I mean, if you're choosing purpose over pleasure, more often than not, your life's going to be a lot better. And that was a realization that I had to have of it's not fucking about me. There's more important things. I have responsibilities now. There's I got to show up correct every day on Zooms, on whatever. I can't show up fucking wrong energy. You can't fake a frequency. Yep. Right? You show up and like if I walked in here all fucking like, you'd be like, this motherfucker, like something's wrong. People can't fake that shit. And especially nowadays with how many just interactions people have with body language. People read bullshit a fucking mile away.
Oh yeah. It's easier than ever.
Easier than ever. We have, it's not like we were cavemen where you saw like 5 people a year, You see,
we can see it all now. We have access to all the knowledge.
Thousands of people all the time, man. And it's important. It's the age of authenticity. And that was really what I wanted to approach things with. There's like my YouTubes and shit, a lot of stream of consciousness, not a lot of editing, maybe some gym footage. We'll, edit and just put some cool music, but dude, just people having conversations about their path and their failures, and and not reflection's not glorification. Yep. Right. And that's what I think sometimes people go, oh, this guy is fucking. I go, dude, reflection's not glorification. It's how do you learn anything? An after action report. After a mission, you sit down and you reflect back on what happened, so you can learn, so you do shit better the next time. And I think that's important.
So now that you're back, kind of living this lifestyle outside of the military, do you still stick to a strict like daily regimen or schedule?
Oh, yeah, dude. And
What's
I
your
film
daily
it.
like?
I put my shit. Dude, I try to get up at like 3:34.
A.M.?
Yeah, every day, bro. I don't miss days.
7 days a week.
7 days a week. I don't take days off. And so, and I've acclimated my body to the sense that where it's like, I look forward to it because it's what do you do? I don't get up and like fucking haze myself. I ain't jumping in no cold plunge, dude. You know what I mean?
Fuck
like
that.
No, dude. I ain't doing that. But I get up and I don't look at my phone, right? That's one thing I do is I don't get sucked in the matrix right away. I'll drink my coffee, fucking sit, read a little bit, do some Mike Tyson push-ups. Nothing crazy, right? Just for more movement. And then I'll visualize a little bit. What's the bigger picture? Am I right on the pace? Can I improve from yesterday? Simple. 30 minutes, 20 minutes, but I do that every day. And I call it emotional and psychological grooming because everybody's brushing their teeth, their hair, doing all this shit. But dude, why not brush your brain, start the fucking day? Just be deliberate about it. And the momentum that just that one piece does for me. But then I got to be up and I'm answering emails and shit, right? So I get myself right and then I'm working, dude. And I'll work from 6 and dude, 6 to fucking 8 every day, dude. I don't really take days off. I'm always, sales, clients, dealing with Zooms. I do Zooms every day, all day. I don't really like take. I like what I do, man. And so it's like what other people will call work, I call life, man.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, when you like what you do like that, you don't really need a break.
No,
taking a break is bad almost.
Yeah, dude. And it's not that I don't get like tired or drained, but if I do, fuck, dude, I'll put it down. I'll go outside and take some time. Like we're going to go to lunch and have a good day. I dial shit back on Sunday. I like to have, you got to allocate some time for the people in your life. Like I don't necessarily, because I've burned in before, right? I've burned in from lack of, I don't like the word balance, but from just being askew for too long.
Yep.
And so it's important to understand what you need to charge yourself to do things sustainably. Because really the only fucking thing that matters is can you do it forever?
Yeah.
That's the only thing that matters.
Yeah, if you can't do it forever, then you're in trouble.
You're in trouble, dude.
Yep.
Set yourself up for success, and that's why a good blueprint's good. I just try to be mindful of my food and training. I don't kill myself in any direction. I just show up every fucking day.
That's all you got to do, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone watching it.
Chop the wood.
So, now that you're, you're out here, you're building your social media following, which is very big. I didn't realize how well known you are on social media until I started doing my research for this. I was like, dude, you got fucking clout.
Thanks, man.
You got a big following, dude.
Thanks.
And I fuck with what you're doing. What are your plans for the future now?
Dude, I'm just going to keep hitting the battle rhythm, right? I want to tighten my systems. I'm writing my book, so the book will be coming out, man. That maybe do a book to series adapt. We've had some fucking interest and stuff, which I think will be cool. But really, man, I just want to stay giving as much value to my clients and my people and just get better too. Like, where can I improve my systems? I got a baby coming. I'm going to have to practice what I preach and get even more locked on, right? I mean, that's the truth is like, I'll have these tests and just keep a good perspective of constant progress, but maintaining that like larger important picture.
And this is your first kid you're about to have,
Yeah.
Do you think your military background is going to make you a strict dad?
I think that a little bit more discipline than what I had probably would be better. Right? I think a little bit more.
I probably needed a lot more too.
Yeah, and I think a little bit more thumb on is helpful, definitely in the beginning. I think, I'm having a daughter, so I think having a good relationship with a dad is helpful.
You know what they say about girl dads?
Keep
You're
her
gonna
off
be
a
tight.
pole.
Yeah.
Keep good relationship with dad. Keep her off a pole. It's serious, man. It's like this shit's important, right? And so I heard one of my buddies he goes, you have a son, you have a daughter, you got to worry about all the dicks. You got a son, you got to worry about one dick. Right?
Yep.
And it's like, that's the truth, bro. But I just want to keep a good balanced environment for my family, stable, right? And financially, emotionally, all that shit is like what's my most important thing now.
Your daughter's high school boyfriend that she brings over is probably going to shit himself when he walks in and like you're the dad that he has to meet.
Bro, motherfucker better sit down. Motherfucker better sit down.
My ass would have walked in stoned. I would have seen you and been like, fuck, I'm for sure not making it back.
He better sit down and shake my hand and like look at me in the eye, right? We ain't having none of that fucking emo shit, dude. Rolling in fucking Crocs and a fucking haircut, can't see his eyes, dude.
Fuck, dude. Hey, there's your forewarning right there, everyone. So, now I want to bring it to some fan questions that I wrote down. Every time I have a guest on, I like to ask the fans some questions, and a few of these we actually already covered.
Yeah,
I realized, but I didn't even use any of the script today. Actually,
I love that.
Yeah, we just kind of went for it. So, all right, fan questions right here at the bottom. First and foremost, from TMP Glizzy, how'd you overcome your background?
Dude, I think he's probably talking about getting into the military and stuff. Is like,
Yep.
Dude, just push the pace until someone gives you a hard no. And if someone gives you a no, go to somebody else until you get a fucking yes. And that's what I had to do, man. I just had to keep pushing different recruiters and don't listen to somebody who's not where you want to be. I had a lot of people be like, dude, you can't be a fucking SEAL. You have a criminal background.
And they're not a SEAL.
And they're not a SEAL. I go, well, what's funny is people who are SEALs are like, yeah, you should try. It's usually how it goes, right? And so pay attention to where you're getting the information from. And so it was more of a self-talk thing. I just had to be confident and just throw caution to the wind a little bit.
Yep. I think that applies across pretty much anything you try to do in life. I mean, I see it all the time, even in my comment sections. People will message me or they'll reply to me and they'll be like, Goblin, how do I start a YouTube channel? And then someone will reply to them and be like, dude, it's too late. And that guy doesn't have a fucking YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And in my eyes, I'm like, damn, dude, we need some more YouTubers out here. Make one. Start
I
posting.
agree.
You could do it.
Yeah. How do you start it? The answer's to start it.
Just do it.
Start.
Just start fucking doing it.
I agree.
So the next question we have here from, I don't know if this is supposed to be Scam or Scum because he has an X in there.
Schism.
It's Schism, yeah. And he asked, if you could start over, would you choose the same path?
I would definitely choose the same path. I would make better decisions along the
Nice.
path because truthfully, if people say, oh, I have no regrets. Well, fuck, dude, I have a ton of regrets. And I would say a lot of the stuff would come out to like, I regret disrespecting my mom, making my fucking family worried and people like that. Also, ruining good opportunities, in the SEAL teams, I wanted to go to the next level.
Yep.
And that I ruined that opportunity, right? And that will be one thing that I'm like, man, if I could reset and just be more focused and more disciplined and focus on the important things more and don't get distracted by the noise, I would definitely.
The mom part especially, I feel that shit.
Yeah.
I feel like I've spent my entire adult life like, I got to be really good to my mom now.
Oh, dude, for me, dude.
I was a menace.
For me, I fucking gave my mom some gray hair. And so now I'm glad when she can see good relationship and stability and she's like happy and retired. And now it's like, fucking thank God. And it's like, finally.
Yep. So the next one we have here from Jack Garcia. He asked, were you treated differently in jail because of your military service?
Yeah, so when I got arrested, the cops wouldn't put me in handcuffs and take me in the back when in court.
So they were really respecting you.
Yeah, they were respectful, and because I was in like my fucking SEAL uniform, man. And while I was in jail, dudes were pretty cool, right? For the most part, I've never had any problem in any jails. I just tell good, cool stories and just, understand the politics and what's going on, but really just get on a good program. I always kind of understood that is just, get working out. But for the most part, people were just interested. Like, what the fuck are you doing in here, man?
Yeah, why are you in the same cell block as
me? But they see, dude, you're just another fucking human who's made mistakes. And that is like, goes a long way.
Everyone's got some shit in common.
Yeah.
Everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah, that common thread.
Yep. Yeah. But you know what? You can come back from that shit. There's two dudes at the table right now who came back from some mistakes.
Straight up, man.
That's
well, it's real.
is.
We're sitting here talking. There's a lot of times we could have punched out or just gave up, dude.
100%.
And giving up, dude, is when you know you could be better and you don't. That's giving up.
Yep. So I guess the final thing I'll ask you here before we end off, on a good note. If there's anyone out there watching, maybe they're in a real bad position, they're at that rock bottom state, where you were sitting in the truck with the shotgun on your lap. If that guy's listening right now, what would you say to that person?
Reach out to somebody. Dude, doesn't have to be me. Just somebody you respect. Be like, hey, I want to make a change. You're going to get good feedback because now you're not in it alone. And I think that's important. Isolation's important for you to get to rock bottom, for you to come to honest terms that you need to change something. Point all the fingers at yourself, then reach out a hand to someone that you respect or admire their life or how they approach shit. Go, I want to make a change. What do I need to do? And then start moving. Just listen, stop thinking, start in a direction. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be in a direction from where you're at. How do you change? Move, right? How do you get out of your own way? Move.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that answer. I fuck with that a lot. For everyone watching at home, where can everyone find you at?
Everybody can always get me on TaylorCavanaugh.com.
Nice.
That contact form goes right to me. I don't outsource anything, no AI, no anything.
Nice.
So that's going to get right to me. It'll come pictures and some more of the story. Also, my Instagram, TCavOfficial.
Nice.
Always Johnny on the spot with the DMs. Once again, it's me talking. I don't outsource any of that shit. And my YouTube, TCav TV, where we dive into those deeper principles. We got gym footage. We got different characters in Southern California and other places that we do cool workouts. And then obviously just my stream of consciousness videos. No edits, one take. I always upload the first one and we get down.
Editing's the worst part of that shit, dude.
Yeah, that's why I kept it simple from the beginning, man. I was like, man, I know I'm going to need to repeat this a lot.
Editing is the worst fucking part.
Yeah.
I fuck with that. Well, hey, all of those links will be in the comment section below. So for those of you guys who want to follow Taylor, scroll down, expand the comment that's pinned at the top, and go subscribe to Taylor on all his platforms. Check out his website. Do all that stuff. I got to say, your story is probably one of the most fascinating ones I've ever had on the show.
Thanks, Nick.
I definitely think we should come back, link back up in the future, and do some more content together.
Let's do it, bro. You know
this is an awesome episode, dude. Thank you so much for coming on, Taylor. I really appreciate you, bro. Yeah. Thank you all for watching episode 41 of the Gobcast, and I'll see y'all next week. Deuces.